Welcome back to the Love You podcast with Evan, Marc, Katz, where we're going to be talking about dating, relationships, men, sex, and all that other good stuff from a man's point of view. Today we are talking about the difference between having needs and being needy. And I want to begin the second half of this podcast with a story about Diana and Jacob. Diana's a Love You graduate, a favorite of mine. She's a professional in her 50s. Very warm, family-oriented, but a severe anxious attachment style, right? And again, I hate to sound so psychological in something that it's just the Love You podcast, but the anxious attachment style, once again, is that she makes a big deal over little things. She craves intimacy, and any hint that the relationship isn't going well causes her to kind of blow up inside. She's dating a great guy by her own admission. His name is Jacob. He's a divorced dad. He's got teenagers. He's got a difficult ex-wife. He's got a lot of other civic obligations. And so no one has any doubt that Jacob's a good guy. The only thing that's in doubt is whether he can give enough to Diana to make her feel safe and happy. Between his work and shuttling his kids back and forth and dealing with his ex-wife, he doesn't have time to talk on the phone for an hour every day. He doesn't have time to get together as often as she would like. Every few weeks in my Love You community, she posts how frustrated she is with Jacob and is thinking of breaking up, whether this relationship is enough for her. So Jacob comes home from dinner at 9:30 from work, and he doesn't call Diana until 10:30. That's a problem. He was gone on business for a week, and he waited a full day after he came home to make plans. That's a problem. I texted him last night, and it's lunchtime the next day. He hasn't responded yet. That's a problem. Each of these things in and of themselves is objectively, in a secure relationship, no big deal. He gets home from work, he just wants to kick off his shoes and relax and zone out and watch TV or open the mail or whatever it is. But the fact that he didn't call her as soon as he got home is the kind of thing that drives Diana crazy, to the point where she second guesses him, second guesses the relationship. Now, when they're together, Diana's happy, right? The second they're apart, though, she's convinced everything is falling to pieces. And my advice to her for the duration of her relationship, again, now over a 6-month relationship, is he's a good man. He's doing the best that he can. He's giving you the most he can give. This is the relationship he wants to have. And if you're not satisfied, then go find a different man. And I'm not judging. I'm not saying whether her needs are reasonable or not. All I'm saying from an objective third-party point of view is this is what he's capable of, right? And, my theory is you can't have a relationship dependent upon someone changing on your behalf. So if he's a good man, this is the best he could give, he loves you, and he can't give any more, then if you can't accept it, you should probably just find a boyfriend who has more time and has fewer obligations. Right? But she keeps on waiting for something to change. So every 3 weeks or so, she has some sort of freak out, and it's another version of the same situation. He didn't fulfill my needs, right? I texted him. He didn't text me back quickly enough. I didn't like the tone of his text, right? And the problem is this Jacob guy, he can't change. He's still going to have teenagers. He's still going to have ex-wife. He's still going to have a job. He can't drop all of these things for her. So there's nothing wrong with Diana in as much as, of course, it's reasonable to expect quality time, intimate time with your partner, but it's sort of the laws of physics. If his time is occupied and he has these obligations that go beyond him, he's doing the best he can. He does love her. He wants to see her. He talks about a future. He wants no one else. But no matter what he does, it's not good enough. So we're at an impasse. Diana thinks her requests are always reasonable. Her needs are reasonable, right? And that if Jacob loved her, he would do everything her way when she wanted to. So I always try to avoid the terms right and wrong. I always use the terms effective versus ineffective. I don't think Diana's behavior is effective. It's not helping her get what she wants. She thinks she's being authentic, right? I'm not bottling it up. I'm not a doormat. I'm speaking my mind. But to a man, she's being anxious and needy, right? It hasn't occurred to her, or she can't process, that her need to be constantly on her man's mind is somewhat unrealistic when you're dealing with a busy adult man in his mid-50s with a lot of stuff going on. So let's talk about that sweet spot that I alluded to in the first half of this podcast. I call it being vulnerable. Vulnerable is kind of a loaded word. People don't always know what it means. So here, I'm going to give you a good working definition. Vulnerability, the self-esteem to be authentic, the courage to be imperfect, the willingness to give your all to a relationship where there are no guarantees. Right? Contrast that with needy, requiring attention and validation beyond what is normal to expect from a significant other. So we talked in the first half how Marcus is needy. Ginny couldn't build up his self-esteem. He was too insecure around her success, so there's nothing she can do to assuage his insecurity. And she was right to move on from him. Marcus, the needy guy, might not feel that way, but it's sort of irrelevant, right? For her, she needs a guy who could accept her as she is. If someone else's needs are dominating, you never really get to receive. You're always in the position of giving. And that's where vulnerability comes in. I look at my relationship with my wife. I have needs, but I don't think I could ever be called needy. I don't play games. I don't keep thoughts to myself. I don't feel like a doormat. I trust my wife. I appreciate what she does give me. And if I ever feel, or if either of us ever feels that something's gone out of balance, we just have a conversation about it. Oh, honey, did you realize we haven't had sex for a week? We should do something about that. Or you go out with your mommy girlfriends all the time and have drinks. I gotta carve out some time to hang out with some of my guy friends. Right? It's just a discussion about what our needs are, but it's not that the other person is oppressing our needs. It's that something's out of whack. You get attuned to what it is. You discuss it with your partner because you're a team. And so there's no attacks. No one's making anybody wrong. And as a result, there's not really fighting. Right? I mean, I always talk about it. It's not finger pointing. You did this. It's problem solving. Right? There's either a problem that I feel within myself or there's a problem within our relationship. What are we going to do to fix it? What's a mutually agreeable solution? If I rarely come across as needy, either to you or to her, it's because I'm secure enough to know that my wife loves me despite my flaws. And that's what these people in question, Marcus in the first half and Diana in the second half, they don't seem to get. That their partners really, really do love them and they're doing the best that they can and they're good people. That the underlying foundation of the relationship should never be in question. Right? Because if you are questioning it, you're stirring up a pot that doesn't need to be stirred. So I have insecurities, I don't dwell on them. I have needs, but it's not my wife's job to fix them. And I could speak my mind, but I don't spend too much time complaining about my wife because that would sort of be a drag. Right? And both of the needy people that I've talked about in this podcast were constantly complaining that their partners weren't attentive enough. They weren't good enough. They didn't bolster their ego enough. Right? And it's hard to be in a relationship when you're doing the best you can and you're constantly told you're failing. Right? That's anathema to what a relationship is. It's really supposed to about being supportive. And I'm telling you, I think women really, really often underestimate how much your guy wants to make you happy. It's tough being a boyfriend, feeling like a good guy and being told that you're constantly falling short. Right? Now, again, maybe the constructive criticism is valid. I'm not one to say. I could tell you as a guy who's really tried to be a really good boyfriend, not a perfect boyfriend, I'm a human being. But when you're doing the best you can and your girlfriend's always dissatisfied, right? That's not a relationship that's tenable in the long term. When you find a good guy who loves you, and a guy who treats you well, you can relax, you can breathe easy, you can trust that even if you don't agree on everything, the foundation of your relationship is strong and immutable. Nothing can change it. Disagreements don't shake the foundation. Right? So they're just disagreements to work around. They're not problems to rethink the nature of the relationship. Jim, we need to talk. No, it's just a negotiating point. It's a data point. It doesn't matter 1 year from now. Right? But if you continually question your partner's commitment just because he has a different point of view, right, you're going to shake the foundation of your relationship. You're going to make him want to find someone where the relationship is easy. Right? So you can be vulnerable. You could have needs. Right? You could show him how to fulfill your needs. But if you have a good guy who's doing the best he can't do any better than his best. And ultimately, you might have to find another guy if your guy can't deliver that for you. So I love this topic. I love hearing your questions. I want to thank you for joining me on the latest Love You podcast. My name is Marc Katz. The next episode, I'm going to talk about bad dating advice that people think is good. Juicy, juicy, juicy. I hate to be critical of other people, but this I feel too strongly about to keep to myself. So if you like this podcast, please click the subscribe button, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and go to www.evanmarkkatz.com. Give me your name and email address, and I will send you free dating advice forever. Talk to you soon. Bye.